And good morning, everyone. Come on in. We're on here Monday through Friday about this time, and about this time is a little bit later than what we usually are about this time, but nonetheless, you have to understand it is Monday. And so we have to get reprogrammed every week as we start off the new week. I hope you all had a great weekend. It was a great weekend. For me, I was up at Cutler, of course, and we had a great worship service, great Bible study, great worship service Sunday morning, and then I attended a 90th birthday celebration for someone down here in Carbondale, and then we went back up to Cutler and had pizza and homemade ice cream social, and it was also good. We had a great time. We had lots of folks there. Really enjoyed the day. Yesterday was a good day. Yesterday evening, when we got ready to come back, it started to rain. It hasn't rained in a year. Well, I'm just saying that, but it hasn't rained for a long time. And then it started raining and raining. So we set off for Carterville and turned around, went back. That's how hard it was raining, and waited it out a little bit. Then we took off again. It was still raining hard. But then when we got back on the blacktop, it was hardly even noticed that it rained. There's a billboard in front of the Trico school, high school, and that billboard got blown over. A lot of wind. And so down here in Carbondale, they had some transformers go out. Anyway, it was kind of a dicey little evening, but we made it. We're home. We're starting Monday. We're getting ready to go. And so I want to welcome you to Coffee with Wes for September the 15th, 2025. My name is Wes. I serve as the pastor of the First Baptist Church of Cutler. And let me get another sip of coffee, and we'll go ahead and get started, okay? You do the same. So we're on a quest. We're on a quest to discover the greatest truths of all time. And so we looked at the greatest name, that was God. We looked at the greatest need that we have, that's forgiveness. And this week, we're going to look at the greatest sin, the greatest sin. And so it's going to be an interesting study, interesting look at Matthew chapter 12. And we'll be looking in verses 22 through 32 this week, all throughout this week. So in this passage, we see that Jesus performs an act, a miracle, if you will, that only he can do. He heals a man who was both blind and mute due to a demon. Jesus heals him. And instantly, the man can see and he can speak. And the crowd is amazed, right? Wow, look at that. But not everyone celebrates what Jesus did. Some begin to kind of question who he is, what power he has, and others, like the religious leaders, they reject Jesus completely, and they accuse him of not working for God, but working for Satan, an agent of Satan. And so that's kind of where we are today. So in this moment, Jesus reminds us of a sobering truth. The greatest sin that we can commit is not our failures. Our greatest sin is not our mistakes. Our greatest sin is not our weaknesses. But here it is. It's choosing to never trust in Jesus. That's the greatest sin. And so this passage that we're looking at invites us to look closely at our own hearts and examine ourselves. And you examine yourself as I do myself. Am I trusting Jesus fully, or am I keeping him at a distance? That's the big idea today. Jesus' power to heal and to save is undeniable, but we have to respond in faith and not rejection. So Matthew 12:22, let me go ahead and read that verse. It says, "Then a demon-oppressed man who was blind and mute was brought to Jesus, and he healed him so that the man spoke and saw." So demon possession back in Jesus' day was a terrifying reality. It would leave people broken and hopeless and ostracized and all of these things. And so when Jesus heals this man, it was a public demonstration of Jesus's authority that he was able to do that, but was also a public demonstration of Jesus's compassion. And the miracle left no doubt to the people that saw it, left no doubt about his power. But the responses of the people revealed their hearts and how they accepted or rejected what he said. You know, like the crowds in Jesus' day, you and I see evidence of God's work all around us every single day. We see it in creation as we look around and see what God has made and how everything works together and things compare and contrast. We see the evidence of God's work in the way that God answers our prayers, in the way we see people's lives that are changed. God's work, God's miracles are everywhere. But the question is, are we going to recognize and trust Jesus for them, or are we going to simply explain it all away? You know, our challenge is to choose to see Jesus's power in our own life. You know, the challenge is to acknowledge how the Lord has set us free, how he has healed us, how he has carried us through difficult times, all of those things that we need to acknowledge the Lord as being a part of his hand on our life. And we ought not to let the familiarity blind us to the work of the Lord. Before we go today on this Monday, September the 15th, let's remember this. The greatest tragedy is not in missing a miracle, but the greatest tragedy is missing Jesus. Trust him today. Acknowledge his great work in your life and the lives of those around you, in your circumstances, your situation, in your work, in your place of work. Acknowledge the hand of the Lord who is ever present, mightily at work, because he has the authority to do great things, and he also has the compassion. Okay, folks, happy Monday. Let's get started. I'm ready to go. Can't go hardly for Aaron, but I'm going to take on this Monday. I'm going to get started. You all have been an encouragement to me today. See you again real soon. Bye for now.